And repair sterling silver, hollowware, and tea service sets. From
Welcome,
to a spoon you drop
Book
in
of
the
Faces.
disposal, they can take care of it. Realtors putting a home on the market, the front door is the first thing a client sees, and they can make it beautiful again. Same-day service. Go where the professionals go. ColonialBrass.net. Don't throw it, restore it. 713-784-7765. ColonialBrass.net.
Are you ready to live your dream? Become successful in all aspects of life, including family, finance, health and fitness, and identity?
That's
Bring
funny.
On Success gives you the tools and advice to help you grow in all different areas of life that ultimately determine your level of success. Join Bring On Success today and start living your dream. Visit BringOnSuccess.com and be sure to listen weekdays at 1 p.m. to the Bring On Success radio show on Business 1110 KTEK.
The following program, paid for by Right Path Real Estate, does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of the staff, management, or ownership.
But
It's time to get on the right path with Right Path Real Estate Radio with Tom Perry. Get the answer to your question that's keeping you from taking action and succeeding today.
welcome to the show.
Get ready. The guy that will put your fears behind you is on the air now. Taking calls at 713
Wow.
785
I have not.
Toll free 877-881-0271. Now here's your host, Tom Perry.
All right, hot mics.
Hey, welcome to the show. Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. This is Build Your Team Thursday. Want to get right to the phone lines. Mr. Ashley Patten, Patten Law Firm, PLFPC.com. Welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Hey, Tom. Thank you so much for having me, as always. Great seeing you last night at the function.
Yeah, absolutely. Long time no see. We were in Dallas last night together at Gillies at the DFW Super Investor Meeting. And I'm now back in Houston in the studio, and I assume you're still back in Dallas. Is that right?
I leave at 10:30 this morning, so I'm still back here. So I'm still in Dallas, and so I got to start flying like you do. Just show up at the event and fly back.
Yeah.
It'd be so much easier waking up in your own bedroom.
I'll send you an invite today to Clear. It makes all the difference in the world. Didn't make much of a difference on the flight coming back last night, but I got to the air. You know, I used Lyft to go from Gillies back to the airport, so I got into the airport about 9:15, something like that. Caught a 10 o'clock flight, was back in Houston by 11, back in my bed by 11:40, something like that, so not too bad. Yeah, had a meeting here at 7:45 this morning. I woke up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, so there we go.
It's a beautiful thing. You were talking about building a cake last night. Give me that analogy again.
Yeah, so what I was talking about is everybody knows how to bake a cake. But the problem with most real estate education across America today is people want to learn what to do. Like, you know, the secret to baking a cake is not just, if I gave you the list of ingredients but didn't tell you the order to put them in or the process that went into the ingredients, you know, just the ingredients by themselves is not enough. So it takes the ingredients and the recipe, right? The recipe is really the formula and the process, right? But if I ask somebody, because, you know, invariably, almost everybody knows how to bake a cake. And, you know, I'll ask an audience and say, hey, anybody here know how to bake a cake? And there's lots of people, especially you get a grandma in the audience. You know, she's baked a couple hundred cakes in her life, and she's like, duh, yeah, of course I know how to bake a cake. But then when you start saying, you know, hey, how much do the eggs cost that go in your cake? And they go, oh, maybe about $1. And okay, so which means that they don't really know the numbers because $1 for 2 eggs means that you're paying $6 a dozen. Now, I don't know what the latest price is, and you probably don't either. Might have been, I'm going to suggest you're not the person that does the grocery shopping in your household, but I don't think a dozen eggs cost $6, even the organic ones, right? Then I say, well, how much does the water cost that goes into the cake? And they're like, I don't know, it's like free. Well, nothing's free, right? How much does the electricity to run the oven cost? And what you get is there's a difference between baking a cake with love and as a hobby versus if you were going to start baking cakes as a business. And that's called a bakery. So then I start asking, so imagine what would it look like? Everybody knows what it looks like to bake a cake in your own house. And so you can picture the mixer and the mixing bowls and the oven and, you know, the mess that you make and then the cleanup and all that. Everybody can picture that. Well, what would a bakery look like that bakes 1,000 cakes a day? And if we were going to build a bakery that bakes 1,000 cakes a day, that would look completely different than how anybody that bakes cakes currently in their own house looks, right? And you would absolutely know what does it cost for the eggs that goes in those 1,000 cakes, and what does the water cost, and what does the electricity to run the ovens, and what do the mixers cost, and what does it cost, how many minutes does it take? I mean, you would know all of those numbers because you would be running it as a business. So I feel like one of the issues with real estate education today is they teach people how to bake a cake more like a hobby. Like, these are all the ingredients that go into it. This is the recipe. This is the formula, all that. But not with a business mindset. Not with all the cost involved in... Because honestly, most of the people that are teaching real estate education today aren't actually doing real estate, even though they say they are and all that. And so that's why I feel like it's so important to us to stay involved in real estate. In other words, we still, you're our title company. You see the volume of transactions we do. And we're going to continue to buy, fix, and flip, to wholesale, to do buy and hold transactions. Even, I was talking to you yesterday, I bought a half of a property, in the last 3 weeks.
Right.
An undivided 1/2 interest from half, a person that inherited a undivided with their sister, and we bought out 1/2 of that transaction. And now we have 3 exit strategies. Either I can buy the other side out, or they can buy me out and unify the title, or we can work together to fix up the house and sell it retail, and we each take our half. So those are the 3 exit strategies we have.
And if that investor turns around and tells you, hey, you can't afford the amount of money I would accept, how would your response be to him?
Yeah, all I would say is, hey, if you put the number, you tell me what your half is worth, and be willing to either buy my half at that price or let me buy your half at that price. In fact, we call that in business, like Jason and I, when we started our first business together, Houston House Buyers, we put in there a contingency. You always need to have some kind of exit strategy in case we ever get crossways. Now, that's not what ended up happening. It's kind of funny because when he approached me and said, hey, I want to be bought out, it's not like we weren't getting along. And it wasn't like we aren't still friends or anything like that. And he said, this push-pull really works well. If it's like, hey, forget you, I'm going to buy you, or you're going to buy me, then one person sets the price, the other person decides whether they're buying or selling. But if one guy just decides, hey, I want out because I want to do other things, like do a massive amount of buy and hold, which is what he wants to do, and he just said, look, I don't want to buy you out because I don't want to run it anymore. He said, I just really want to cash out. I mean, we've got, the business is worth a certain amount right now, and I just want to cash out. I don't want to take that money, the equity that I have in the business, and go do something else with that equity. And that's, investing in buy and holds. So I would use that same scenario with that investor. He's not really an investor. He's a person that inherited a house. And I would say, look, if you're worried about what I'm going to offer you, I'm not going to lowball you. You pick the price. And I'll pick if I'm buying or selling. Or conversely, I'll pick a price. And you decide if you want to buy or sell at that price.
See, that is just such a good thing, because sometimes you can buy a fraction of an interest in real estate, and most people think that you can't do anything with it, where it's the exact opposite. You get in, and so if you were contracting with 2 owners, you buy their portion, you lock their portion up, and then you work on the other half.
Right. Well, in fact, what's interesting is we're not doing anything different in single family than has been done in commercial for years and years and years. I mean, very rarely does just one person, like a sole individual, go and buy a whole office building by themselves or an entire industrial. Oftentimes it's a hedge fund, which is a lot of investors, or it's a consortium of investors, or whatever it is. And, fractions of that investment, people, the investment group may not want to sell out, but an individual investor, it happens in multifamily a lot. Very rarely is it just one individual that goes and buys a 400-unit multifamily apartment complex. But we know lots and lots. I know you do, and I do as well. Know people that are, they may have $50,000 in a 400, might be a $5 million property, but they have $50,000 in that. So it's a fraction. They don't have to wait until everybody sells out in order to get their $50,000 out. They could, at any point in time, sell their portion of the investment. That's a sellable interest in a piece of property.
That's right.
Yeah. So we're just doing the exact same thing in single family.
which is beautiful because that's where so many listeners are involved in is a single family.
Right.
And even it's regardless whether it's family, whether it's not family, whether it may be, ex-wife, ex-husband, or one of those, or
Right.
It's the same type of process for all that. Now, as far as baking the analogy of a cake, the analogy of a cake, how do you incorporate that into today's subject with regards to the partnerships, vendors?
Yeah, so the only analogy that I look at in terms of the cake analogy is just understanding that what most people are looking to do is to change their outcome in life. Most people are not happy with where they are. Well, I don't say most people. That's a broad generalization. But a lot of people that are looking to get involved in real estate, they're looking for that to be a vehicle to get them out of their current situation, financially, time-wise, whatever. And so I have this formula that says that your thinking is what causes your decisions. Your decisions are what causes your actions, and your actions are what lead to your results, what you have in life. The life that you have is based on the actions that you've taken. Most people want to change their actions. In other words, they get so focused on, show me how to do a flip. Okay, great. I can show you how to do a flip and all of that. But if you don't understand the thinking that goes behind it, then you're not going to succeed as a business. In other words, I can show you how to bake a cake. That doesn't mean that you can go and build a bakery, which is a cake baking business. Knowing how to bake a cake and knowing how to build a bakery are two separate things. And so learning how to flip a house and learning as a single transaction is not the same thing as building a business that flips houses or building a business that wholesales houses. So people learn, there's lots of people out there that wholesale houses, and because they don't know their costs. I mean, I spoke to a young lady last night. Maybe she's listening today. And what she said is she's been involved in wholesaling for 8 months, and she's done 6 transactions. And I said, well, what's your average wholesale fee that you've made? And she looked at me like my average? I'm like, yeah, take the total number of deals you've done, divide by 6. I mean, that's not that hard, right? She goes, let's say it's about 10,000. I'm like, okay, well, right off the bat, we're not running it as a business. If you don't know those numbers, you're not measuring. You're running this as a hobby. Like you're baking a single cake and going, oh, man, I hope I can make some money doing this. And that's the reason why people fail. And oftentimes when people don't know their costs, like they don't know that it costs on average $5,000 to acquire a house, whether it's to wholesale or to flip, or 40 to 60 hours, costs $5,000 or 40 to 60 hours in result producing activities of marketing to produce one deal. But if you and I both know people that all they do is they attach a $5,000 fee onto a wholesale deal and think they're making money. And what they're really doing is they're losing money because that's just the marketing cost. So they're going broke slow and they don't know it because they're running it as a hobby, not as a business.
And that's all the opportunity because they could acquire that property.
Yeah.
They already had the contract to buy.
Right. That's exactly right. Hey, you've been live on the radio. It's Ashley Patten with Patten Law Firm. It's plfpc.com, plfpc.com, 713-621-5808. Hey, Ashley, I consider you a good friend and a partner in this business. I appreciate it. Have a safe trip back.
Hey, Tom. Hey, thank you so much.
All right. God bless. Bye.
Hey, bye-bye.
Mic's off.
You found or inherited a great investment property. Problem is, you don't know how much it's worth, or more importantly, what to do to maximize your investment while mitigating risk. This is exactly why we started Next Gen Appraisals. Next Gen is a group of appraisers specializing in investment real estate. We understand that investors aren't just looking for a number of what their property is worth, but a comprehensive analysis of the market. Give Next Gen a call at 713-346-9999.
All right, sorry, Facebook folks. I have been, I had to reboot my computer because it was running so slow. I hadn't rebooted it in a couple of days, and so now it is up and going. So good morning, Sonia. Good morning, Daniel and Damon and Andrew. And good morning to all the folks in Dallas that I met yesterday. For any of y'all that are new first-time listeners, I appreciate y'all joining the show. And for those of you that are long-time listeners, if you enjoy the show, tell your friends. In fact, even better, if you're on Facebook right now, share Share this feed. Just go to the upper right-hand corner or however it is on your app and just hit share and share it to your own timeline. Let your friends know that you like this show.
Educational classes, networking opportunities, and the ability to tap into
Really, this show can become a mastermind nationally. And people can share ideas, and we can talk about that.
All of our educational classes every Tuesday morning and evening. For more information, call us.
This show exists for you.
55 Fun IRAs, or visit our website at questira.com.
Are you looking for an investor-friendly general contractor for your investment property? Then call Fast Track Remodeling at 832-742-9992 or reach us on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
Fast Track Remodeling specializes in turnkey remodeling of single-family investment properties, whether it's
And you said it's Quest up next?
or a rental rehab. No more managing
Yeah, the call screener is going to call him real quick.
Okay.
But I have a
Yeah, back up. Yeah,
ready
yeah, I got
if need
it.
So
be.
give us a call today
All right.
at 832-742-9992.
Oh, somebody's giving me some likes. I appreciate that.
Taxes. Just the sound of that word makes people cringe. At Anderson Advisors, we provide tax reduction through asset protection for real estate investors throughout the country. Our unique philosophy has CPAs, lawyers, bookkeepers, and estate planners with one common goal, helping you, the real estate investor.
I'm so fired up about
Check us out
today.
Today at AndersonAdvisors.com. And don't forget to tell us you heard about us at Right Path Real Estate.
Do you have cracks in your brick, doors that stick, or sheetrock that's coming apart? Then you may have foundation movement. Due to our expansive soils in the Houston area, it's probably not a question of if you have movement, but when. Call
All right,
Foundation
Derek's on
Check
hold, and
for
we
a
have
fully
45
independent,
seconds.
All right.
unbiased foundation evaluation. Foundation Check has been in business since 2009 and has completed over 1,400 evaluations. We're not in the business of repairing foundations or selling you unnecessary peer work, but we are in the business of evaluating your foundation. Our product is designed for house flippers, landlords, or even owner-occupied properties. Each of our files is reviewed by a licensed engineer. Remember to check before ever repair. Call 346-702-3825. That's 346-702-3825. Or you can reach us online at foundationcheck.com. That's foundationcheck.com.
This is Business 1110.
All right, hot mics.
Hey, welcome back. Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. 713-785-1817. If you want to call in and ask questions. Our next guest, Nikki, I think you said it was Damon on the line. Is that right?
Derek.
Derek's on the line. Derek, welcome to Right Path Real Estate Radio. Quest IRA is in the house.
How you doing, Tom?
I'm having a great day. Can you tell?
Oh, you sound excited.
Oh, my gosh. I am so stinking excited. It's amazing. You know one of the things I'm really excited about? I have to say, one of the things I'm stressed about, 3 weeks from today, 21 days from today, 3 weeks exactly today, tonight, about 3 or 4 hours from right now, 3 weeks from today, I will be putting my costume on.
Have you picked out your costume yet?
You know what? I've narrowed it down to like 3. I've narrowed it down to 3. I haven't actually gotten the costume. You know what's interesting is I think I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself because, there's certain things. I'm at a certain age right now, and I feel like, I have a certain place in the industry. There's certain things I have to rule out. You know what I mean? So,
oh yeah,
it's a tough choice. It really is. So, yeah.
For those of the people listening that don't know what me and Tom are talking about, we're talking about Quest IRA's annual Fright Night event. It is one of the largest real estate parties you will ever attend. It is fantastic. We have 100% open bar, free alcohol, free food. Everything is on Quest. It's not like, we're going to give you 2 tickets at the door for your drinks. No, 100%. Everything's on us.
All the tickets you want.
I kind of look at it as almost, yes.
Yeah.
All the tickets you want. I love that.
Now, hey, but here's the thing. I would suggest if you get more than 3 tickets, then Quest would strongly urge you Uber or Lyft on the way back home.
Not only that, but is super cheap, guys, and so is Los, and it's well worth it, right?
Absolutely.
On top of that, if you guys are coming to hang out and have a good time and party, this is the best place to meet your other real estate investors and really network with people in a different atmosphere. Right? It's sometimes when you get to meet people such as yourself, Tom, you're very elevated. You've been in this industry a long time. For a newbie, it can be sometimes nerve-wracking to approach someone such as yourself. You know?
Yeah, I'm so intimidating.
I don't know what I'm doing. But guess what? You get a little liquid courage in me.
Right.
I am ready to go talk to Tom Perry.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like I'm one of the most approachable guys in the industry. I'm not going to intimidate anybody. Now that being said, I do agree with what you're saying, is that there's a lot of people that go, oh my gosh, I don't want to sound stupid. It's like we all remember what it was like to be that newbie. I mean, I remember, in fact, right now I'm in my office and I just saw Brant Phillips is in the office right now. And when I first started Fast Track, I mean, I really looked up to the guy because he was running a construction company called Rent Ready. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy knows so much compared to what I know. And now what I realize is that, hey, we are, for sure peers, right? And I remember that I always had this abundance mentality that there was more than enough business for him to have all that he wanted in Rent Ready and for me to have all that I wanted in Fast Track. So I always had this co-opetition business model where, hey, Brent, let's get together once every 90 days, once every 2 months, whatever it is, 60 or 90 days, depending on our schedule, and let's create our own little mastermind. I'm sure there's some things that I'm doing that if you knew how I solve certain problems, it would really benefit your business. And there's certain things that you do that would benefit me if I knew it. And so let me share my struggles with you, and you share how you fix those things, and you share your struggles. I feel like Houston is a unique marketplace across the country. I've had the opportunity to speak across the country, and I know you have as well. And we have an interesting dynamic in that competitors will share openly and honestly ideas of things that are working. Because, there is more than enough business for all of us to get extremely wealthy.
That is so true, Tom. I mean, just as a great example, last week I was in Rhode Island. Next week I'm in Arizona teaching people how to take their retirement accounts and invest in real estate. And it's very unique how when I go to these other cities and these other states and we're speaking about self-directed IRAs and how they can benefit people, that a lot of times we get a lot of competition from local RIAs in that city. But here in Texas, or especially Houston area, we don't seem to have that. Like you said, you work very well with people. Sometimes you would almost consider them a competitor, but you look at them more as peers. You look at them more as someone that you can maybe bounce ideas off with. Or sometimes the person you're speaking to in front of you, you don't have much for them, but this individual does. And so
right.
You introduce them to someone else, and I don't know.
Hey, Nikki, can you turn Derek up? Because listeners are having a tough time hearing him compared to my volume. So, and if you're following along on Facebook, Nikki, just follow the post. Hey, Derek, so here's what I would say is it's amazing to me how few people have what I call the abundance mindset. And I noticed that most successful people realize that the universe has more than enough for everybody and whatever it is that they need. And my philosophy is if I help enough other people get what they want in life, mine's an automatic. And I just feel like that I cannot outgive what the universe has in store for me.
I love that phrase. That is such a great phrase. That is so true, especially when it comes to the real estate market and real estate.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Now, I want to give out y'all's contact information. QuestIRA.com. That's QuestIRA.com. And the phone number is 855-FUN-IRAs, 855-FUN-IRAs. I was at the Gillies event last night up in Dallas, and you guys are one of the major sponsors of the event. And, people were asking, hey, how do you fund the deals? There was a young lady that was there. She's still in college. She wants to get involved in real estate and things like that. And, the number one thing that I find is the issue that's stopping people from getting involved and doing real estate deals is they look at their own bank account and they go, you know what? I've got to grow my savings. I don't have enough of my own personal money to put into deals. And I'm like, you know what? That's only between your ears. Because when you get out there and you start learning how to find deals, if you really have the deal, a real estate deal is a self-collateralizing asset. And there are plenty of people that want to use their self-directed IRA in order to fund real estate deals. And y'all have a great system and a process to put people that find deals together with people that have money that are looking for deals or looking to fund deals. Talk about y'all's process for that.
We do. So currently at Quest, we have around $297 million waiting to be given to investors, real estate investors, for their next deal.
That's almost a third of $1 billion, just to put that in perspective. A third of $1 billion, and that is non-deployed funds.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So deployed funds, we have somewhere right around $1.7 billion.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Understand that like we still have so much money just sitting here waiting to be given to investors, and you can find just by showing up to any one of the Quest events or just talking to any one of us, when you see us at one of the local events around town. So.
Or 3 weeks from tonight, you want to be at Fright Night. And I also have to say, I want to point out, one of the things I'm really excited about on Fright Night is I'm actually going to be in the Scary Story competition. In fact, I plan on going home as the grand champion of the Scary Stories.
So it is a unique competition that we're going to be hosting. And it's really funny because I find as I travel through all these other RIAs and all these other events, a lot of times people talk about the good investment stories. And they always seem to shy away from the bad investment stories. But any good investor has their bad story.
Absolutely.
So we thought it would be really cool to pin people against one another and talk about their bad investment stories and let everyone vote and see whose was the most scariest. So
that's fantastic. Well, in fact, I think we were the very first real estate group in town at Right Path to actually do a class, and we broadcasted it everywhere, how to lose money in real estate. And we talked about the very first deal that we ever lost money. The first deal we lost money on, fortunately, was not our first deal. We had done over 100 successful flips before we ever lost money on our first one. But our first one we took a loss on was $55,000. And now you can imagine, and we obviously learned some lessons along the way, and obviously that didn't knock us out of business because, you've done 100 successful transactions. You can eat a $55,000 loser every now and then. You just don't want that to be your first transaction. And trust me, we learned so much from the things that we did in that process. And so there's two ways that you can learn, right? From your own mistakes or from the mistakes of others. So we'd like to save other people the pain of what we learned and share that so that other people don't experience that same thing.
And that is so true, Tom. I'm very spoiled in the aspect that I get to approach people such as yourself and my dad and a few other, big-time real estate investors around town. And anytime I have an investment, I always talk with my mentor. I always talk with my coach, and I make sure that this deal makes sense because I don't want to make those mistakes. And so learning from others, I think, is a big aspect and a big, standpoint that people need to understand. And don't just always go out and do it yourself. You guys have a fantastic coaching program that you allow people to come up and ask questions and work through any investment. So especially if any newer listeners are listening, you should really check out Right Path and see what they can offer and see what they can do for you guys.
And in that same vein, you definitely want to go over to questira.com right now. Get registered for Fright Night. I will be there. I'm not going to expose what my story or what my costume is going to be today. You're going to have to show up and be there to see me in costume. Yeah, it will be memorable. I will tell you that. And then you also want to watch me take home the Grand Champion Fright Night Scariest Story trophy or whatever the plaque or trophy is going to be. I plan on holding that proudly in my office. So, Derek, I look forward to seeing you then, if not sooner. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Thanks for being on the show, Derek. Have a blessed day. All right, guys, we're going to a break. Stay tuned through the break. We'll be right back on the other side.
Mike's off.
I like brick house, because I like to buy a lot of brick houses.
That there are over
literal residential brick houses. That's what I mean. Not what he's singing about.
Imagine if you could use someone's IRA to fund all of your deals. Well, you can. Quest IRA is based.
All right, I'll be right back.
In Houston, Texas. At Quest IRA, we
and then you're getting Johnny on the line, or is he already there?
Used to invest in real estate, promissory note, private entities.
Yeah, Andrew. Sorry about that.
Many of our clients loan money from their IRAs to fund real estate deals all over the country. We don't sell any investments or give advice. However, we do hold free networking events, weekly educational classes, and free consultations with an IRA specialist. For more information, visit our website at
Hey, Tom.
Yes, ma'am.
IRA.com or call
I
us
had my thing off, but hey, Johnny's going to be recorded.
Oh, is he? Okay, got it.
To tap into the
Yeah.
All right.
He's running through the airport.
Oh, is he?
In the U.S., call Quest IRA
That's funny.
at 1-855-FUN-IRAs or go to our website, questira.com.
Are you looking for an investor-friendly?
I was running through the airport yesterday.
investment property? Then call
When I was
Fast
flying to
Track
Dallas,
Remodeling at 832
I pulled up in the parking lot at like 2:05 at the airport to catch a 2:30 flight.
Fast Track Remodeling specializes in turnkey
So,
remodeling of single
dropped my
family
car off
properties, whether it's
in the
split
door at the
rehab or
airport at
rental units.
2:06.
We manage every aspect
I was
of a
through
rehab
security by like 2:11 and at the gate by 2:15. They were supposed to start boarding the flight at 2, but for whatever reason they changed gates. And so they were allowing a little bit of extra time for people to transition from one gate to another. And I didn't know that they were supposed to be at a different. So when I showed up, I checked the gate, board, and went straight to the right gate. And then they started boarding about 2:25 for a 2:30 flight. We were actually all on board about 2:37. Took off and yeah, it was.
Or reach us on the web at Fast Track Remodeling.
As long as the flight, like 30 minutes?
It's it's actually like 37 minutes in the air, but with taxiing and all that, I mean, it's pretty much an hour end to end.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Potential liability that exists from owning real estate at Anderson Business.
I think the hardest thing for me is like it's the extra time. Everybody says, "Oh, you got to get there an hour before the flight." It's an hour to get there, and blah 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 blah. But like, I mean, literally, I left the office. I was at the airport in 30 minutes, and then I was on board the plane in 30 minutes, and I was in Dallas in an hour. So it's basically from the time I left the office to the time I was landing, it was 2 hours end to end. And then I took Lyft to Gillies. So
You guys fly commercial, or do you guys do those little?
we used to do Rise, which is a private airline. It's a flat rate on a monthly basis per person. You fly unlimited between Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio. But lately, I've just been taking Southwest. That's just going. That's going to hobby taking Southwest. But I'm TSA pre-checked. I also am a member of Clear, and Clear saves it cuts out a big chunk of I'm a huge fan of Clear, especially for at a hobby. Not so much Clear's not so great at Intercontinental, but yeah, but Clear is awesome in hobby.
Bundling your properties on a single policy will help save time and money.
Trouble at Bush is that Clear's only in one terminal. And the terminal, Clear only works really well when Clear is paired with TSA pre-check. But they don't have TSA pre-check in the same terminal they have Clear at Bush, which is kind of stupid. So it kind of defeats the purpose.
569-4353 or online at benchmarkbroker.com.
But I've flown in Seattle and a bunch of other airports across the country, and everywhere that Clear is, it's awesome, except for Bush. Hey, welcome back. Right Path Real Estate Radio. We're going to keep the show rolling.
All right, we got 16 minutes until you go live again.
All right, I'm going to step out for just a moment.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, if anybody on Facebook wants to ask any questions, feel free to do that. And let y'all enjoy the Best Stuff show for Jet. There you go. Single-family houses are the single best asset class in America today. In fact, he went on to say if he could figure out a way to manage it, he would buy 100,000 houses tomorrow. And I don't think that has changed. To continue this conversation, I want to add Mr. Johnny Cash, real name Johnny Hayes, Jet Lending. Welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Hey, Tom. How's it going?
Hey, doing well, man. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's only been a few hours.
9 o'clock last night. It was exactly 12 and a half hours ago, right? Yeah. we pack a full day into a full day, right?
Hey, it was a good day. We had a great meeting in Dallas, talked to a lot of new investors and seasoned investors that are excited what's going on out there. There's a lot of deals happening these days.
There's a lot of deals happening. One of the things that came out of the event for me last night is that, that when you're first getting started, one of the first things you really have to learn is the math of the deal. But not just the math of the deal, it's the math of the funding. You know, we had some people approach us after we got off a stage for the end of the night. A lot of people came up, asked me some questions. I know that happened to you as well. Had these two guys came up to me, and they wanted to come to our weekend event. They said, hey, you know, can we come because we're business partners? And I said, well, here's what I can tell you is most of the time business partners, they don't end up as business partners within about 90 days of coming. And he goes, why is that? And I said, well, because they do the math. And most people become business partners for the wrong reasons. And I said, most of the time, the reason why people become business partners is one guy's got money and the other one doesn't, and they've been friends for a long time. So the one guy without the money, he goes to his friend with the money and says, hey, you know, let's partner up on these deals. I'll do the work. I'll find the deal, all that. You provide the money. Boom, let's do it. And that sounds on the surface like that's a great idea till you do the math. And what I tell people is like, man, no. Go to a hard money lender. Don't partner with somebody. I mean, if you think, the most expensive money out there is giving up half of your profit to do the deal.
Exactly.
Hard money lending is really, really cheap. And what I realize is, hey, you know what? You got to learn the math. Hard money is really, really cheap compared to partnering. So I think hard money lending is the absolute best way for any investor to get started because you get a level of experience. You get somebody that's really on your team for helping you do the deal, making the money, things like that. You're not going to let somebody make a bad deal.
Hey, and well, especially for new investors, you know, because use our experience and what we know about the market and the mistakes we may have made over the years that we've learned from other investors and ourselves to make sure that you are getting in good deals. But if you just ran the numbers, let's just say you didn't have a bunch of cash, but you had great relationships with banks. If you went and got the cheapest money you could get at a bank where they may give you just money on your name's sake and let you do whatever you want to, a hard money, we're only charging probably about 8 to 10% more than what it may cost you. But for what you're getting for the experience level, the analyzing the properties, make sure you're getting in good deals, helping you through the deals to make sure you succeed, and also helping you find deals and help you sell your deals. Those things right there are worth way more than that. And when you talk about partners getting 50%, totally you're giving up about 12 to 15% of your profit and doing all the stuff yourself and running the business yourself if you have a partner like us at Jet Lending.
Right. Well, and you mentioned it. You know, I hear some people, you know, kind of because I think like a client would, right? You know, because I've been in sales for a long time, but I always put myself in the position of the customer as well. And when you made the phrase, "Hey, we're only 8 to 10% more." And I'm like, you know, that's a big deal if you're signing up for a 30-year loan, but we're not talking about 30 years. When you're talking about something that's 6 months, 7 months, 8 months long, the interest rate is so insignificant in the grand scheme of things. When you're making, you know, a 300% rate of return on the money you have in the deal, or, you know, when you're making $50,000, would you pay $8,000 or $10,000 for your money if you could make $50,000 in 6 months? Most people say, absolutely. In other words,
sure you would.
You know, here's what I always like analogies, right? Imagine that you are working for some company, and a headhunter calls you up and says, "Hey, man, we can find you this job, and you're making $80,000 a year, and we can find you a job making $160,000, you know, next year. So you'll make $80,000 more money next year, but all we want is a fee. We want, you know, 15% of your first year's." Most people would jump on that case. To be able to double your money, and all you're doing is paying a fee to make that possible, right? And what I'd say is for all the intangibles that you get with a hard money lender that are above and beyond what the rate is, It's the level of experience. It's the experience with the construction. It's the experience with the marketplace. Like, you know, it's not if everybody's buying a Memorial, okay, that's one thing, right? But it's not. You don't find all your deals just in Memorial or just in Westview or just in Bel Air or things like that. I mean, what happens when you get one and cut and shoot, right?
Exactly, and it's the speediness of the transaction too. You know, as competitive as it is out there today, you know, you run up against a lot of cash buyers that will maybe sometimes overpay. And hard money or asset-based lender like Jet, we can close just as quick as a cash buyer. You know, and we fund our deals. You know, we make sure those things are right. So there's a lot of advantages for it out there. And if you're a newer investor, and even seasoned investors, we've had guys we've been doing business with for 15 years, and they started with us with nothing, and they've built a clientele basis where they've done hundreds and hundreds of deals, and now they have their own bank lines. But guess what? When they find another deal and they've used most of their, they still use our money. They're not going to walk away from a $100,000 profit because, well, my bank lines give me money at 6 or 7%, or I've got to pay 9 to 12% for my hard money. No, I'm not going to do that anymore. They're not going to walk away from a deal. They borrow money from us still all the time because they find more deals than what they have funding for through the normal chains because there's not unlimited funds out there for that, you know?
I agree. Yeah, so it's jetlending.com, jetlending.com, 281-872-7800. That's 281-872-7800. Whether you're buy and hold, whether you're buy, fix, and flip, or even wholesalers. You know, I know that a lot of wholesalers, what they're doing is assignment of contract. But until you really start getting into the bigger deals, you really don't understand what wholesaling is really all about. Because, you know, if you're wholesaling with $5,000 assignment fees, things like that, you can assign those all day long. But as you start moving up into $25,000, $30,000, $35,000, $40,000 wholesale assignment fees and more, and the only way that you can do that as a wholesaler is if you're adding value. Then what you're going to need is transactional funding. So tell me about the transactional funding that y'all do for wholesale deals.
Yeah, and we do a lot of those each month because we've got a lot of clients that can go out and find the deals and have landlords out there looking for rental properties. A transactional deal is like a double close. You close with us, and then you have the person you're selling the property to immediately after. It's what we call a double close. Not all title companies will do that, so you got to make sure you're with an investor-friendly title company and be on your team. But it takes us about a day to 2 days to underwrite, get that file ready, and close. It's a quick closing. We don't have to go through the whole process like we do if we're doing a 3, 6, or 12-month loan because we're basically funding your first transaction, and then your person you're selling the property to, and he's buying it, he'll either have his cash or he could borrow the hard money from us to fund the deal that you're selling it to him. So we can work on that for you. It's about a 1 to 2 day process to get ready to close. We do a lot of those deals, and we talked about it last night. A lot of these end buyers or hedge funds that maybe some of these wholesalers are selling to, they don't allow you to make those larger deals. You're going to have somebody in place to help you with those transactional fundings, or you won't be able to sell to those guys.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, we were talking about that a lot of the hedge funds, if they're buying the property or if they're funding it for the long-term financing, then they'll only allow a 10% assignment fee. And so that means, and that's 10% of the sales price that the end buyer is paying for the property. So if they're buying the property for, $100,000, you can only make $10,000. And some situation, like we had a property that we bought up in Dallas, and we put it under contract for $32,500, and we were able to sell it for $72,500. And so that's a $40,000 would have been an assignment fee, but we had to double close it because two reasons. One is oftentimes, now here's what I can tell you is in the condition that it was in, it was worth $72,500 to a landlord. And because when he runs the numbers, and we just did a really great job of putting it under contract. We were really good at sales and marketing, and so that left meat on the bone for the buy and hold guy. But if a hedge fund is the one doing the final funding on that, there's no way they would allow a $40,000 assignment fee. Just not going to happen. And so it's jetlending.com. That's jetlending.com, 281-872-7800. Also want to promote that the next Super Investor meeting in Houston is going to be the third Wednesday of this month. It's going to be at the Redneck Country Club. Every investor who's an investor in Houston, that's going to be the 19th of September. So you're gonna
Hey,
be right.
it's a great meeting. Everybody come out, free. Doesn't cost anything. You'll learn a lot. You have a great time. Also, Tom, throw out there today, if we have any landlords that have not been to our landlord meeting the first Monday of the month, if you own over 5 rental properties right now, you have to be invited or qualify. Email me today, Johnny, JOHNNY, at jetlending.com. And if you have 5 rentals or more, I want to give you a personal invite to Eddie V's this Monday for our landlord meeting. You can only come if you're invited. We'd only have space for about 125. It's a great meeting. You're there. Oh, y'all come and see us.
That sounds great. All right, so it's jetlending.com, 281-872-7800, 281-872-7800. Johnny, as always, thanks for being on the show, and I can't wait to see you again soon.
Yep, I'll see you Monday night.
Sounds great, man. All right, bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah, me. Oh, man, my shirt matches the mountains today.
Hello, real estate investors. Do you need a lender that moves fast at the speed of a jet to fund your investment properties? Jet Lending will help you purchase properties quickly with as little cash out of pocket as possible. Jet Lending also sets up a repair escrow fund to help you with repair costs. Jet Lending has originated over 2,000 loans in Texas, valued at over $250 million. Jet Lending will help you evaluate your deals for free and give you feedback on value, cost of repairs, and potential loan amount. Jet Lending is your fast and friendly hard money source for first-time investors and seasoned professionals. Call 281-872-7800 or email us at info@jetlending.com. Oh, and don't forget about our famous Third Wednesday Super Investor Networking Meeting. Lots of fun, lots of great real estate talk. We'll see you there.
Hi, Clint Coons here, attorney and avid real estate investor. You know, the greatest mistake real estate investors make is not understanding the potential liability that exists from owning real estate. At Anderson Business, Legal, and Tax Advisors, we specialize in protecting real estate investors in all 50 states. In addition to structuring your business for optimum protection, we provide guidance so you pay the least amount of taxes available under the law. We have 150 employees that range from lawyers to CPAs to estate planners and much more. Download our free ebook, The Invisible Investor Strategy, today at AndersonAdvisors.com or call for a free risk reduction analysis and financial blueprint at 800-706-4741. Anderson Business Advisors will help you keep more of what you earn. Call us today at 800-706-4741 and mention Right Path Real Estate.
You found or inherited a great investment property. Problem is, you don't know how much it's worth, or more importantly, what to do to maximize your investment while mitigating risk. This is exactly why we started Next Gen Appraisals. Next Gen is a group of appraisers specializing in investment real estate. We understand that investors aren't just looking for a number of what their property is worth, but a comprehensive analysis of the market. Give Next Gen a call at 713-346-9911 or check us out online at nextgenappraisals.com.
Real estate investors, if you're not familiar with Quest IRA, let me tell you what you're missing. We've got free weekly educational classes, networking opportunities, and the ability to tap into trillions of
How do you feel about
dollars
setting up a
real estate
partnership with a
investing
a C Corp, and an LLC to
join
minimize
us
tax liability for real
as we
estate investments? I'm trying
all
to
of our
not give
educational
Uncle Sam
classes
all
every
money.
Tuesday morning and evening.
Yeah, so
For more
Andrew,
information, call us
it's
at
not enough information to answer the question, because what I'll say is
or
that
visit our website
in
at
real estate
questira.com.
investing, it depends on the phase in which you are investing. Are you in the acquisition phase? Are you in a maintenance phase? Are you in a, what phase of your life cycle are you? Because I've seen people minimize taxes to the point that they make themselves unbankable. So you're always trying to balance bankability versus minimizing taxes versus liability. So if you go strictly to an attorney, they're going to try and address all your liability issues. If you go strictly to a CPA, they're going to address all of your tax issues. And if you go to a banker, they're going to worry about how you become more bankable. So it's a matter of balancing that. So you can minimize your taxes to the point that you're not bankable. And so, but everybody's situation is different. So, since I'm not an attorney and I'm not a CPA and I'm not a banker, and you don't have to be licensed to be a banker, but you do have to be licensed. I mean, as a loan originator, but not for commercial loans. But you do have to license. So I can't give legal or tax advice. But all I'll say is that just that's the question that you need to be asking is, what are you trying to accomplish? So,
you ready?
I am ready.
All right, here we go. Hot mics.
In fact, I'll address live on the air. So welcome back. Welcome back. So Andrew on the Book of Faces has asked a question, and he said, I have a question. How do you feel about setting up a partnership with a C Corp and an LLC to minimize tax liability for real estate investments? I'm trying not to give Uncle Sam all my money. And I can certainly appreciate that. And so in real estate investing, you're going to go through different phases of investing. And when you're in acquisition mode, what you're wanting to do is use leverage. Now, if you inherited, $50 million and you don't need to use leverage and you're just trying to deploy all your assets, but that's not most people. So what you're always looking for is, attorneys, if you have a good real estate attorney, he's going to be trying to look at how do you limit liability. So he's going to try and either make you invisible or, protect you through, corporations, things like that. But if you make yourself so invisible that your bankers can't really verify that you have what you say that you have, then you can make yourself unbankable. And then by the same token, your CPA is going to try and minimize your tax liability because we don't want to pay more taxes than what we're legally required to do. However, if you show that you make no money, then the bankers are going to go, how do we lend you money when you don't make any money? So you're constantly trying to balance, and oftentimes, looking from a pure CPA standpoint versus looking from a pure, attorney standpoint, they may give opposing advice because they're each trying to protect you in their own, putting on their own filter. So what the situation is ideally you work with a group or an organization or a set of individuals that understand your specific situation, what your goals are, where you are now, where you're trying to get to, and balance what the attorney would say with the liability versus what your CPA would say with your taxability versus what your banker would say, because your banker needs to be involved in the conversation as well. And since I'm not a licensed attorney and I'm not a licensed CPA, I refuse to give out any kind of legal or tax advice. But what I'll say is just, there are organizations like one of our radio show sponsors is Anderson Advisors, and they are a CPA and law firm all under one, and that's one of the groups that gives advice about taking all of those three things. We call that the three-legged stool. And if you've ever heard Anderson Advisors being on the radio before, that's one of the things that we talk about over and over and over again is you're balancing those three things. And so it depends on where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do. So I've got less than a minute left, and I will be back live in the studio tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. And what I know is we're actively buying houses today. We're actively selling houses today. We're actively in the business of real estate investing. We do both buy, fix, and flip, buy and hold, and wholesaling. We also teach people how to be lenders. And so if you want to learn about how to actively do that, how to build it as a business, or how to passively do that, we even have an investor that's in San Francisco, for example, and he buys a lot of houses in Houston, and he does it passively because we have the Passive Investor Network that's set up as well. If you want to find out about any of that, go to rightpathrealestate.com. That's rightpath, RIGHTPATH, realestate.com, and register for our next free event. We do a free event on Tuesday evenings and on Thursday at noon. Come to either one of those. That's the best way to get started with us. Or email support@rightpathrealestate.com. Hey, thanks for listening. We wouldn't be here without you, the listeners. Tell your friends about us. We want the show to grow so we can help more people. Be blessed. Remember, help enough other people get what they want in life, and yours is an automatic. Have an abundance mentality. See you tomorrow, guys.
All right, Tom, have a good one.